And what is up, everybody? Shauna the D man here, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are doing well. We are back with a interesting video that we are going to be diving into. As for those who are new to the channel or not familiar with the channel, one of the things we do here on Nerd Talk is we have the Nerd Talk podcast, and that primarily revolves around us having conversations with cosplayers, whether they're international, US based, whatever. We have conversations with them, learn about their hobbies and things like that. We have Teramisu Cosplay back, who was a guest a couple of weeks ago or so. We're back with this because we're going to do something different. If you saw by the thumbnail, we're going to talk about this Stella Chuu interview that went up about a week or so ago, depending on when you were watching this particular video. Now, I have not seen the video. I know nothing about this cosplayer. I thought it would be interesting to hear what was said. Just, maybe things are being misquoted, stuff like that, just out of my own curiosity. But Tara here, she watched the video, and I brought her on to very much hear the thought process and everything like that. So before we jump into the actual watching of the video, if you want to give like your quick thoughts about it, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah. So hello, my name's Tara. As you know, I've been a guest on here before, but I was brought on because I did post a video that talked about one particular quote that was said during the interview with Stella Chuu, and it kind of covered her opinion on cosplay contests and the competitions and the cosplayers who participate in them. Just to kind of give us an idea of what type of an impact this may have had. It was not necessarily a very positive take on cosplay competitions. And unfortunately, it did cause a lot of discouragement throughout the community. So that's why I'm here to talk today.
And so one of the things that what we'll be doing is we will be stopping it periodically just to, talk and give our thoughts about it and things like that. Now, this could be changed, at least with the video that we're watching, because this on the YouTube side was uploaded 7 days ago. There could be a chance that the original poster took it down, maybe edit some stuff out. So Tara has that covered on her end, and so we'll see. We will definitely see how this goes. So let me get everything pulled up. Sorry for the white screen, everybody. That's just how it starts. And let us just get into it. There are chapters down below, so I'll probably just stop it at individual moments. So let us go.
The reason people cosplay.
Check out Sneaky's cosplay. Did he shave his chest?
Is because they see that the character that they love is better than the version of who they are.
Okay, so real quick into that. Let me hear your thought on that, because to me, at least from the conversations I've had with the multitude of cosplayers, that often doesn't seem to be the case. It usually comes to me from a conversation. Now, obviously, that could be the case for some people. I don't want to, not say that's not the case. It could be for some people, but for the majority of people I have had conversations with, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, typically when people do cosplay, it's because they relate to the characters that they're cosplaying. Now, it is possible that there are sometimes people do cosplay because this character is a better version of me, or I feel more comfortable in this character's skin versus my own. That is entirely a possibility, because we all cosplay for many different reasons, and you necessarily can't cosplay incorrectly. Like, we all do it for, as I said, for different reasons. I know. What was I going to say? Sorry about that. I think that's the point there. Yes.
So if you are like that, if you were watching this, comment below. I would love to hear what got you into cosplaying. Maybe have you on as well just to talk about it. So I'm just very curious to hear about that. So let us continue.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm projecting.
As an artist who's at conventions all day, like, obviously I'm seeing cosplayers every day. And I don't really understand how they're able to afford to be there.
Okay, so if you asked me this question like 5 years ago, I'll be like, anybody can become a professional cosplayer. But then recently, because of the economy, I've noticed
These companies that are willing to sponsor cosplayers, what level of success are they looking for? Is there like a minimum?
I don't suggest people trying to pursue that unless...
Is there a path to make a living within cosplay? For this video, we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to talk about the cosplay community. Although I'm not a cosplayer myself, being an artist in this space, you are forced to act as a business if you want to make a living doing the thing that you love. And I've found myself wondering, how do cosplayers make a living? How are they able to afford such elaborate costumes or even take the time to make them? What are the jobs even out there for them? Is it even viable? Does it have to just be a hobby? So I thought,
Well, let me get through
who
the
better
intro first.
than to sit down with Stella Chuu herself to ask, is cosplay actually a viable, livable career in 2026? Who is renowned not only for her own cosplays, but working with big streamers and other content creators in the space.
Okay,
I'm excited.
I think that's a pretty good spot right there. So I guess for me, I'll speak on it first, and then I would love to hear your thoughts. From my conversations with the cosplayers that I've had, a lot of them still have full-time jobs. A lot of them, there are some that are even in college and that do cosplay. And so it is doable. Now, I mean, obviously it could be a lot more challenging depending on what kind of cosplay that you're wanting to make and things like that. But it is doable. Like I've seen people do it. Like obviously some content creators that I've spoken with, some cosplayers I've spoken with, some of them have like, coffee, Patreon, just things like that. And they take that financial income and a lot of them put it back into their cosplays. So it is doable. Now, depending on like I mentioned, the cosplays that you're trying to make and things like that, it seems like a very doable thing. So what are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. There's different ways to build cosplays, and you don't necessarily need to go to a craft store and buy the stuff that you need and spend a lot of money on it, because this is all about creativity. So you can make, I actually have a can of peaches right here. You can make like a bunch of, you can make like a dowel out of multiple cans and just put them together and just use duct tape to make the piece that you're making. And if you're good at soldering or welding, if you have a welder at home, you could even reinforce it. There's different ways that you can do stuff, and you don't necessarily need to break the budget to do it.
Agreed.
Excited to have you on. From my an outside perspective, your career seems really unique compared to like other cosplayers.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to discuss that, but also discuss how cosplayers can make a living, or if that's even like a viable pathway these days. Because as an artist who's at conventions all day, like obviously I'm seeing cosplayers every day.
Yeah.
But there's still a big separation there, and I don't really understand how they're able to afford to be there.
It's definitely okay. So if you asked me this question like 5 years ago, I'll be like, anybody can become a professional cosplayer.
Mm-hmm.
But then recently, because of the economy, I've noticed it's shrunken back down. So the history of like working in cosplay is that it all kind of started when Patreon became a thing. That was the beginning of cosplayers making money off of their art from the fans directly. There wasn't any form besides like selling like physical photos and merch, but even then as an artist, it's really hard to break even at a convention. And for a fan to buy something from you that is just a picture of yourself is more difficult than buying a piece of fan art that's like a character that you really like, right? Like you have to want to buy something from the cosplayer themselves. And so most cosplayers barely break even. So in my mind, that's like not really an income if you're just breaking like less than even.
It's much more a hobby.
Yeah. And so for people to finally have made money off cosplay, it was through Patreon. And so Patreon was what, like 10 years ago? Maybe a little bit more.
It definitely seems like it's falling out of like.
Yeah. And so Patreon died for cosplayers maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And for most cosplayers who are professional level of cosplay, they depend on companies to like sponsor them like per campaign. So it'd be like, oh, we're releasing this new update for our video game. We would like you to cosplay as our character. And that's a one-time thing. That's it, right? So a lot of cosplayers depend on that. But
so what level? Or sorry.
well, that's still a very small. Like, there's only so many video game companies. There's only so many Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I would say that's probably a fair statement. I don't know about the Patreon side of it. Because most of the cosplayers that I've spoken to don't even have that. I guess most of them is just something they really love to do and got into it for just the love of the game. But yeah, I would say big time streamers, or not streamers, big time cosplayers. Those are usually the ones that I usually see that are definitely backed by companies. And so obviously they have that kind of source of income compared to your average cosplayer. I don't know. I mean, yes, you can probably make an argument with the economy aspect of it, especially depending on what you're making, where you're having to ship material into. I could probably say, yeah, that probably has a part into it, but I'm sure there's multiple ways you can get around that. So what are your thoughts so far on that?
I do agree with her there, because I have been on both ends where I've had a Patreon and that funded a majority of my cosplays. I am redoing it, but that is something that I'm changing from my own personal things into offering packages for cosplay mentorship for people who are interested in maybe even getting serious at cosplay, want to develop their skills, etc. That's going to be my new Patreon platform. But I've also been on the other side of signing on with partnerships with a few names that were mentioned in the video that they shared. Excuse me. But it is a lot of grind when you do it professionally. It is waiting for the next gig. It is waiting for the next appearance. It is going out and finding places that you can guest at, having prints available. So yes, it is a grind when you do get it to the professional level. That's correct.
I guess real quick, I don't know if we had talked about that with the first episode that we did, but if you want to go a little bit more into that, like tell us a little bit about what it's like from the professional side. What does that go into obviously whatever details you can provide. What is that like?
So I am partnered with Anime Social Nexus, which is a company that is out in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. They work with Shonen Jump, Sony, and Viz Media, and a few other companies like that, where we are sent the project and basically who can sign up for what character. We don't have any context outside of that. So you go to these events and you are either featured or you are a background person, or there's like a red carpet event, or for the One Piece season 2, for example. There was actually a moment where I could have been Shanks. I put together a Shanks cosplay. However, I wasn't able to submit anything online. So unfortunately, right at the last second, the day before the submission date, I had to pull out. Now, I don't know if there was going to be financial compensation for that, but that's a lot of if, ands, or buts that go into doing that, because you don't know what's going to happen out of what you create and what you do submit to the companies. So it's a lot of unsure.
What's the wait period look like from you maybe one gig ending and you waiting for the next one? What is that? Is there like a certain, maybe not a certain time frame, but like how long have you been waiting or for something like that?
I would say it depends on your availability, because I do work full time. So a lot of my availability depends on my PTO and my ability to travel, because a lot of time travel is not comped at least at the level that I'm at. I know some companies do comp travel and hotel stays and stuff, but where I'm at right now, I have to cover all of that. In terms of what it looks like, I'm sorry, what did you say one more time?
Like the wait period between the gigs and stuff like that.
Okay. It can really just depend on what is available and how many partnerships you have, because I'm only partnered with one organization, so I'm waiting for when they get stuff. But if I get partnered with another one, I might see more opportunities popping up.
Okay. So at least in this aspect of what Stella Chuu is talking about, you kind of like agree with her in that aspect when it comes to being on both with Patreon and then also being professional cosplaying, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Okay. That's why you're here. That is why you're here.
Yeah.
Like Raid Shadow Legends,
Oh
there's
my God,
only so
yeah.
many campaigns out there.
They're
so
coming back. I see them.
yeah, it's a very small population. But during the pandemic, I saw an upsurge of people supporting cosplayers, but also supporting art in general. So because since it's kind of died down, because now everyone is going off and doing things, the economy's tanking, they're spending a lot less on art. So it's really difficult to say because, like I said, 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, everyone, let's go make money.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh no, financial decisions are hard.
I feel like, especially with conventions, like you said 5-6 years ago, it was the one path where I was like, this is not gate kept. Anybody can enter at any level and, have some level of success. But like, I worry about suggesting that anymore. It's like, oh, the top 20%. Oh, it's the top 15%. Oh, now it's the top 10. Like, I don't know what that number is.
Yeah.
So these companies that are willing to sponsor cosplayers are small, or like there's not that many of them, but like what level of success are they looking for? Is there like a minimum that you're seeing?
So there's two kinds of companies. There's the kind of company that just wants to work with the creator that they really care about because their marketing team cares about like community. But then there's the other kinds of marketing teams that are like, no, we need like as much ROI. We're gonna hire the most expensive, like the most famous influencer. We're gonna get Pokimane. We're gonna get Shroud. We're gonna like then the cosplayers will be on that list because they'll be like, oh, we see a lot of ROI on cosplay because we have characters that represent like it'll be good. So like they can choose cosplayers or they can choose like makeup creators or like Lego creators. Like we're kind of in that roster, and it's not
okay. I've always wondered how conventions do this, where they get how they reach out to people and things like that. Have you been reached out to before in that kind of aspect of like, hey, we seen your content, we like what you do, we like what you do, would you like to come be a special guest or something like that?
Not quite yet. I'm still at the point where I have to reach out to the cons themselves, or I have to reach out to my community and be like, hey, if you want to see me at this con, go ahead and submit a guest request. That's my experience there.
Because I don't see many. Because I'm trying to think of the cons that I've noticed. Because one of the things that I'm personally doing is branching out, checking out a lot more cons and stuff like that. I usually don't see many like guest applications on their websites, and I don't know if that's maybe because they don't want to get like flooded with a lot of people, or maybe they just have an idea of who they want to reach out to, and they'll reach out to that individual's agent or something like that. But I typically don't see a lot of guest applications, at least some of the con websites that I have seen. So what's that process like of submitting an application to be a guest at a con?
It's a lot of work. I know for anime, I was starting the application. I had to stop it and go back multiple times because you have to go through the same process as a vendor or an artist would go through, depending on the con and how they decide to do guest. I know, like for example, with anime, I have to submit like a professional photo that's already cropped and ready to go, so that they can just slap animate on it and then my name, and then we're set. But I had to put together the collage for them, and then I have to put in my bio and all of my information and what I stand for, and basically sell myself to the con to be able to get a chance to become a guest. And I don't know if it's going to be accepted or not.
Okay. Do you you don't have to answer this, but like, do you feel like a lot of cons go for more of the big name, big followed cosplayers, content creators, and that doesn't leave a lot of room for the more up and coming people to get that kind of visibility?
I have an interesting take on this, and this actually covers something that the interviewer said, where he's like, "Oh, I don't want to gatekeep," but like, no, there is no gatekeeping, because like what Stella Chuu said, there are two types of organizations. There's one type that will go after the big names, and there's another type that's just community focused. They don't care about numbers or followers. They just care about someone who is for their community, someone who will basically give them a good name, and also someone who will be influential regardless of their background. And they don't care if they made their cosplays, if they bought their cosplays, if they got it out of the closet. They want to see uniqueness, and they want to see a character, as in like what you are able to offer to the community. That goes the same with cons. You can either have ones that are just after the big names, or you can have ones that are after the community.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Specifically, like, hey, we only support cosplayers. It's kind of like whatever goes with the campaign.
I see.
Yeah. And so because of that, like I said, there's like this list of all these people, and being chosen from that list, and even being chosen as a cosplayer within that list, is really difficult. So I don't suggest people trying to pursue that unless they have that je ne sais quoi that makes
Like, it needs to start as a hobby.
There's only so many famous streamers, which means there's only so many famous cosplayers, and trying to put all of your eggs in that basket and be like, oh, I will become famous, is really hard. Like, it's really difficult to say. Like,
You need a
everyone.
little Delulu in your brain.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, those are the people I find that like figure it out sometimes, but also, I don't know, it's very risky. I wanted to ask, like, craft person versus like personality. Is there like a balance there? Because I know like every artist I know is like major introvert, cannot like, push there's exceptions, obviously. And I see some cosplayers that, like, I'm like, I think that's an introvert, I'm not sure, but like it seems rarer. And I wonder if there's success for those people there, or if it's like the people trying to make money. I'm asking like 4 questions at once.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I completely see where you're coming from. And yeah, there's a lot of cosplayers who are introverts. Cosplay, the reason people cosplay is because they see that the character that they love is better than the version of who they are. And so they'd rather be that. Well, I mean, maybe I'm projecting. But vast majority of like cosplay is escapism. You love this character so much that you want to become them because you idolize them. They're your role model in a way. And so when you become them, you become a better version of yourself because you idolize this version of the self that you can become. So you go to a convention and suddenly you have all of this confidence, versus if you went to, like, I don't know, a pharmaceutical convention, like that's not the best version of yourself. You don't feel confident. But when you appear at a convention dressed as your favorite character, suddenly you are part of a tribe. And the tribalistic mindset gives you confidence. And that's really addicting. And that's why people keep coming back and going to conventions, regardless of if they're introvert or an extrovert. But I do see that a vast majority of cosplayers are introverts, because this is where they found their safe space. So,
thoughts?
I completely agree. I actually find it very rare to find extroverts. I am an extrovert, and that often surprises people.
Interesting enough, I actually just was speaking to a cosplayer today and booking her to come on next Friday for the podcast episode. And one of the things she told me, she was like, she would love to, but she's like very shy. And I told her, I said, listen, you are not the first one. And I've had a lot of cosplayers who had that kind of mindset. They were a very shy person. So that's interesting. I'm curious on like if they were like them starting out in the beginning, were they more introverted, and then they, as more cons they go to over the years, things like that, they become more more outgoing and things like that. I'm very curious on if there's a case of something like that happening.
Yeah, that very much is the case. I know for me, I have social anxiety, and like, that's another thing that actually surprises people. But with it, just your community is such your support network. Actually, someone that recently posted about this. Let me pull up their name here, because they made such a wonderful point. It's like, what do you mean I'm going to let social anxiety dictate what I can and can't do? That actually is directly their quote. And it is Lathon Hardy is the cosplayer that said this. So if you want me to, I can actually like show their Instagram page. He's someone that went into detail about how he himself has social anxiety and how just being at these conventions and seeing all these people, even when people come running up to them, like, oh yeah, you're so used to this. You're so used to people running up. They're like, actually, I'm terrified every single time it happens. But it's just the people make it worth like powering through, pretty much.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm trying to think if anybody. I think most of the people that I have I've spoken with have been cosplaying for at least maybe 5+ years at this point. So they probably have grown over that time. So I'm like, that's interesting. I've never see I learned something new about the cosplay community every time I speak with somebody, because I honestly I would not have known that, because the majority of the people I have spoken with have been very like outspoken, very confident person, or a confident individual. So that's actually interesting for me to learn about.
Yeah, a lot of people say that confidence is a performance, and once eventually the performance becomes reality, pretty much. You do it enough. I've been cosplaying for 13 years, and I would say until 2025, even I finally was able to have that performance become real.
Oh, okay.
So with that, a lot of crafting cosplayers tend to be introverts because we have to spend a lot of time at home building the costume and like hyper obsessing about how to like create our craft.
Yeah, little hobbit holes.
Yeah, and it's not as community driven as, say, if I just went out and made TikToks with like 30 people every single day, 7 days a week. So with the advent of TikTok, it has brought in this whole section of extroverted creators who will purchase their cosplays and like do group costumes and like really build out community, versus before, which was cosplayers who only came out of their hobbit holes maybe once a month for a convention to show off their really, really cool costume builds. So seeing those two and I'm part of both of those communities. I'm an extrovert who loves to craft.
Yeah.
And I love TikTok. I love short form content. I love like community content. Like I hardly ever post anything that's just by myself. It's always with another person or a group of people. I do events and stuff. But then I'll go home and I'll like hide and work on a costume for a whole month.
I think that's what's interesting. Like, again, as an outsider looking at your career, it seems like you're very optimized, hitting like those different avenues.
Optimize or burnt out, you know?
I mean, you know, from an outsider perspective, like I find it impressive. Like you're collabing with everybody, you're making the things, you know, you're at these events. And I wonder, is that like necessary for success in that space?
Unfortunately, the answer is yes, but I would not tell anyone to do that because I'm in the middle of like the worst burnout I've ever experienced in my entire career, which is crazy to say because I've been doing this for 15 years and it took me 15 years to finally get burnout. And I think it's because I've reached or cosplay in itself or content creation itself has reached this like crazy like peak of like if you don't sleep, then you will become famous, right? We will continue to reward you. There isn't this like for the people that I'm around, there isn't this sense that you will be rewarded if you do well, right? It's the sense of you cannot stop, because if you stop, you'll stop being rewarded. It's a negative kind of like situation now. Like people aren't saying like, I've just been thinking about doing something. It's more like, I have to do this. I have to.
I'm starting to see artists thinking about this as well and feeling that they have to be like active and posting and content creators. Because like a couple of years ago, like if you had a successful Instagram or any social media, like lead people to your shop and like that was your rent. But like it just doesn't work as effectively anymore.
Yeah.
That is it. Have you experienced? Like you mentioned, you've been doing this for about 13 years. Have you experienced a burnout?
Yes, very, very bad burnout, actually. I've been doing content creation for 5 years, and I hit such a wall that I actually experienced what a lot of healthcare workers call compassion and empathy burnout, where it just was so much happening at once that you get to a point where you're just like, stop, just stop. And it doesn't matter what is coming your way. It's all of it. Just you meet it with apathy, and you meet it with your irritation. Like you lose the fun, and I had to take 3 months off. Like I was like, I don't recognize myself. I need to get away. And this is why it's so important and why I always push that people do need to take breaks. Yes, what Stella Chuu said is true. That there are times if you do stop, you will lose that wave that you have of like upward projection as a content creator. But there's also a time where you can come back and you can get it again. And just that's why they have like insights and all this other stuff that you can go into on your page to see, okay, so when I was doing this time of day was good for me to post, etc. That is if you want to have that forward projection, because that is completely optional. There are multiple different things that you can do as a cosplayer that don't even involve social media. But that burnout is preventable. It is 100% preventable because your life does not stop. It does not wait for you. Cosplay does. That will always be there when you come back. Life goes on, and you need to take the time when you need to take the time.
Do you feel like in most cases why most content creators, cosplayers, streamers, or whoever, they don't stop, they don't like, they just, even though they burn out, they just keep going? Do you think it's like a fear aspect of like, if I stop, then all these followers are just going to go to somebody else?
I wouldn't say that. It's more of a, if I stop, all my hard work will be in vain, because the algorithm does, in fact, it does punish you for taking breaks. That's why, like, when I came back from after I came back from a hiatus the first time from my honeymoon, I came back and I posted something that was just like, hey, I'm back. It got like 200 views, whatever. And I know that's a lot for someone who's really small, but in comparison, it was something that took a hit on my views. And it's a lot of times the algorithm does punish you for getting low views on something. So it's playing its game until you get that momentum again. And that can take a long time. And that is very discouraging. It is 100%. It is very discouraging. You're like, well, I've been doing this for a month and this isn't coming back. But it's a matter of just remembering that you did need that time, because then when I took a step back, I was able to come back with a new creative process and actually do something that was more fun to me that would prevent the burnout. And it's always good to take a step back, see the full picture, and then go back in. But it is hard to get back up off your feet.
Okay. Because I saw on Twitter the other day, there's a person I follow, and she's a streamer and everything, and she talked about how for her, she feels like streaming has become like a chore. Like it's like, oh, I have to stream on this day, and that may just be her going into a burnout period. Maybe for her. So that's part of why I was just curious on that. So that is interesting. I don't know if I have hit that period just yet. Primarily because I usually space a lot of stuff out. Like the way, even if I take a day off, I have some form of content coming out, whether it's shorts, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. So that's probably why I haven't personally, for me, have not felt that way. But well, let me back up. I kind of have, but not from a burnout perspective. It's more of a frustration perspective, particularly on the YouTube side of things, because like the algorithm it's a pain in the butt to get that going. And so yeah, I would say it's not a burnout for me. It's more of a frustration, because you put in that work and you get like you put in the work and make a 30-40 minute video, and you only get like five views, but then somebody else makes the same type of video, or obviously alterations, whatever, but they get like 500 views.
Yeah.
And so, but I guess part of it too for me is like I've kind of like grown to be like, you know what, that's fine. If people like, even if it's 5 people that like it, that's good enough for me. And so But yeah, I can definitely say the algorithm is very frustrating to try to deal with. I don't necessarily care for it too much on Instagram or TikTok. I usually just post clips or just post stuff in general. I do know a lot of cosplayers who definitely try to get that algorithm to work for them and things like that. But um, it's crazy. It's crazy how much work you have to put in. Which I guess it does make sense. You do need to put in the work, but it's crazy how much the algorithm kind of dictates a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. And before we continue, I do want to make a quick point of when that streamer was talking about how it became a chore. That's your number one sign that you need to go on a break.
Okay.
Because if your hobby becomes a chore to you, it's just not going to become fun. You're going to go down a rabbit hole so fast.
Agreed. I agree.
And with the views that you mentioned,
like TikTok.
There we go.
With the views that you mentioned and getting discouraged about them, that is valid because you want more people to see it, but you also don't know how the people behind the screen were impacted, and it can be a huge impact. You can inspire a crowd of 4 people and not inspire a crowd of 1,000 people. It's just you don't know who's watching and what type of impact you'll have on someone.
Agreed.
Shop or Instagram shop, like all of these advertisements that people are seeing. I'm actually seeing a lot of artists pushing ads now for their products, which is crazy to see because like I never, like in the past that was only corporations, not small creators.
Yeah, you were kind of looked down upon before, and now it's like almost a necessity.
Yeah.
Can I ask about like your income streams? Because I know you do a lot of collab work and do a lot of work for like more well-known people and stuff like that. Like, what's more of a traditional income sources versus like those opportunities that maybe like somebody starting out wouldn't have?
So I'll start with like the beginning of the question, which was all of my income streams. And I have a lot because I believe in putting every egg in every basket. And I've done that since the beginning of my career because I was always afraid of something disappearing, like pretend that Instagram suddenly disappears overnight. I don't want to be in a situation. Or conventions, right? Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to be in a situation. So things I have right now is I get sponsorships from companies, which is great, and it's usually a huge lump sum because after I hit 1 million followers, it put me into a different tier of like income. Then I get payouts from like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and that's based on like the videos. Like YouTube also pays out, and if I did YouTube long form, I'd probably make a lot more. But I just do YouTube short form. So those are those companies. I also do have an OnlyFans, and I will say that keeps me completely afloat when there's bad months.
I see.
And I know that that's not for everyone, but for someone like me, even for someone like me who is like seen as successful, this is like a huge necessity for me in order to like stay alive. So then I also have conventions that will invite me, but this is few and far between. Like I can't depend on them, but they will invite me and I will have an appearance fee and then I'll sell my merch there, which like, I'm not very good at selling merch anyway. So I like for other people, it's probably great. But for me, I like sit at the booth for 3 hours and then I run away.
Yeah.
My time is much better spent just like making TikToks too. So like I figured out that it'd be better for me to spend 3 hours making TikToks than 3 hours sitting at the booth. I would make more money that way.
I actually agree with her on a lot of this, because I'll speak for myself, and then you can add your part. Because recently I started to stream on like multi-stream, so YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble, because part of my mindset of it was instead of just streaming to one location, I could stream to these other locations and cast a much wider net to gain more viewers and stuff like that. Out of the guests that I've had on, I don't know if she has, maybe I don't know if she's added more to the list. No, it doesn't look like she is. So like I would say with a lot of the guests I've had on, a few of them have done sponsorships. I don't know if any has done the media payout. If they have, it's just something I don't know about, and I'm fine with that.
I am listening. I just need to plug my laptop in.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I would say number 3 for sure. I've had cosplayers who also did OnlyFans and stuff like that, and a lot of them too take. I think when spoke about at the beginning, a lot of them too take that money and filter it back into their cosplays. And then conventions, I don't think. I mean, yeah, I've had a few. I've had a few people who were like guests at conventions and maybe judges at competitions and stuff like that. So I guess out of the four, I've had people in different categories. So I don't know where you will fall into this list, or give your thoughts.
Yeah, actually, so I will say, with how the finances do come in with what she mentioned, that it would be more financially beneficial to. One second. But it would financially benefit better to be able to make the content. However, I'm going to wait on that point, because that goes on to more of why we're here today, because that's starting to touch on that.
No.
Because I have done Patreon, and I've done where I did like somewhat stuff along the lines of OnlyFans, and that's why I actually deleted my Patreon, because I actually felt like that wasn't for me.
Okay.
I felt like I was following a script of like, oh, when you get to this point, you do this, and that's actually what led me to my burnout. Is I was following the script, I was following these rules that people had, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to write my own thing.
Okay.
I'm going to get that offline. I'll figure out if I want to do something like that later, but I'm not doing that right now. I felt like I was kind of like selling myself, and it wasn't comfortable. Yes, it brought in income, but I was not interested in making income that way.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Let's see.
Like type of thing.
Yeah.
I have an Etsy, and it calls 3D, where I sell
she
3D
did
models that I made, and like Ava foam patterns for cosplay.
So are those like designs you made for yourself, and then you're just like repackaging them?
Yeah, like and it'll be like a sword, like, oh, you don't have to 3D model the sword. I already 3D modeled it for you, and I figured out how to like make it so that you can put it in your luggage. I problem solved all of those things.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah, it's pretty great, I will say. Like I sold, I made a Rumi sword from K-pop Demon Hunters, and that like is doing pretty well for me. I should advertise it more, but whatever.
Yeah, we're here for the Stella Chuu meal.
Wait, I don't know
Star
if this is
Guardian
actually part of
Akali
it is part of
dagger
it.
Kanai weapons for cosplay.
I thought it was like an
props.
ad or something. I was like, wait, I don't know what
Killjoy
this is.
turret Valorant prop.
And
Rumi sword K-pop Demon Hunters for LED and battery. Yeah, Stella Chuu meal. Cults 3D.
Can I ask what Pretty Well is?
For me, it's like making over $1,000 on a $5 pattern is pretty great.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
was something you were gonna make anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Because I made it and I problem solved it, and I can screw it in and everything, and I could take it apart, and I put battery in there, and I was like, okay, I'll put this pattern up, and I advertised it, and to make $1,500 on that, and each one being $5 basically, is like,
that's a lot.
Yeah. So that's great for me. Yeah. So and honestly, there's no overhead, because it's a pattern, right? I don't have to print anything, I have to carry anything. It's just they can just download it and then 3D print it, or however they want to do it themselves. Those are the main ones I could think about.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to do right now, is diversify my income sources, because we were so reliant on conventions for so long, and it was really good, and then the pandemic hit, and we were like, I just went from like making 5 times the national average to all my credit cards are like maxed out.
Damn.
We recovered by finally making an online shop, which I should have years before, but luckily we had some success in that, but they could have gone a different way.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. Why do you think that is? Like, is it more of an economy thing, or is just a natural change, or like what? I'm curious on. I mean, obviously, I'm curious on how he mentioned he went from making 5 times this to maxing out credit cards and stuff. Like, I know he's an artist. I mean, obviously that's probably part of it, but I'm just curious on what the change was.
It sounds like, I know a lot of people that were in theater right before the pandemic, a lot of them just completely lost their jobs. And that was the same thing with the cosplay scene, is you were no longer making in-person appearances, you were now making online. And with the demand for with the previous demand of everything being in person, moving to suddenly there's nothing. There's not going to be any income.
Okay. Do you think because you have a unique spot about this because you were cosplaying before the pandemic and you're still cosplaying after the pandemic. Has it gotten post pandemic? Has it gotten back to the level of what it was pre pandemic? I guess from like a functionality of conventions and things like that. Because obviously, it seems like a lot more people post COVID have been going to a lot more conventions.
I will say,
have you noticed like a shift or something like that?
yeah, and I will say that's only been a thing within the last year where it's starting to shift back to where it was.
Okay.
Because if you look at a lot of this thing, I haven't been to KatsuCon, but you hear a lot about how that's more of a con to go to meet content creators. And if you're a content creator, you go to that con. And it's more focused on like the social media part of the con scene. However, I'm seeing that's more becoming like a specialized thing that's like a small portion of the cons because people are now looking for more of a community and a more connections that way to that, like how cons were before. It was more like, I'm a shy nerd. I want to go and make friends with people who also like the same thing as me. I want to have an excuse to put on a costume and just go have fun. So it's like the priorities are shifting because before it was because during the pandemic we all fell into like I want immediate entertainment, social media. So this I like this person's cosplay, I'm going to follow them and I'm going to consume all of their content. So that mindset also moved to cons shortly after the pandemic. I want to consume everything that is this person. And that's going to be my main priority for this con. I've experienced that myself where I've gone to a con to go and have fun. However, there was a, like I was going to say, but before I even got there, I had 20 plus people like, hey, I want to meet you. This is going to be my top priority for this con, which is I'm very flattered and I'm very, very appreciative of that. It's just, it was very, very surprising to me still, like kind of like a culture shock of how it went from going to a con to strictly be with the everyone there versus just going there for a single purpose. So it's more going back towards like, I'm going there for everyone, but it's still, yeah, you see what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
Hope that makes sense. If you need me to clarify, please let me know.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you feel like cons have like not the cosplayers or the people that attend the conventions, but the conventions themselves? Do you feel like they have kind of forgot what their purpose was in some aspect? Now, not every con is obviously the same, but do you like from you're going from what you see online and things like that? Do you feel like the cons themselves have kind of forgot what they're supposed to be?
Yes, I completely agree with that. And this is coming from, do you know about the con scene in Ohio and how it's a lot more different than other states?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So the con scene in Ohio has always been community based. It's always been, we have something for everyone where you can act silly in the hallways and it won't be a problem because that's just a part of the culture. But if you go to a con in Ohio that is a corporate con that's nationwide, it is completely different. It's much more business structured versus con goer structured, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I've noticed a lot of the atmosphere has turned more towards capitalism and consumerism versus community, if that makes sense. I know I'm saying community a lot.
No. Because I was actually having a conversation. This was a while back, but I was asking a friend about it, and she mentioned that like at least some of the cons that she goes to, it does feel like they're not for cosplayers anymore, or at least they lost their purpose of what they're supposed to be. So that's why I wanted to ask that question because I was very curious about it. Because like I'll look at the guest list for a lot of these cons. and I'm just like, oh wow, that's some big names that you're bringing in. But most of the cons that I've been to have all been relatively fun. I'm curious on if it's more of the smaller cons that still have that community feel compared to the bigger cons, if that makes sense.
Maybe, because I did just go to a smaller con and they had some really big names there. So, actually with that point that you just made, it sums up what I was trying to say a bit better. It's cons have turned into come look at the shiny things versus be a part of the shiny things. Because like with the issue that GalaxyCon had in Columbus last year, where they were putting tags on mobility aids. It wasn't focused on the goers. It was focused on, but you can't have this because of X, Y, and Z. It was more like corporation based, and they had a lot of things, and the dealer's room was so crowded it was dangerous. And they just wouldn't have seen that before.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That might be something I might want to look more into. That is actually interesting. That's
that's rough. Conventions really died overnight.
Yeah,
which was such a crazy thing.
I was about to get on a plane 2 days later, and I think it was Emerald City was like, oh, never mind, it's canceled, and we're like, oh. So, and then nothing else happened for a year and a half.
Oh, okay. And then that probably explains it. Then this happened during COVID time, so that makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean that was definitely a massive shock to everybody. So I can understand on that aspect. Then, since that makes a lot more sense.
I do have a unique view on that. If you would like me to go.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So during COVID, I was a communicable disease investigator. I actually did control COVID-19 outbreaks within the state of Ohio. I got to see firsthand what it did to people. So I was calling people who were positive. I was calling people who were exposed. And during that time, especially, I had to tell them if they didn't quarantine because of the county I was doing it for, it was going to be breaking the law pretty much, that it was like a state mandated isolation, a state mandated quarantine. And you have to be locked away in a room for 10 days because that was the incubation period. That was the isolation period at the time. And that it sucked a lot of joy out of people, to put it lightly. And it made it difficult to create, made it difficult to do it yourself. So if you were sick and if the only form of entertainment you had was your phone, that's where a lot of it started.
Okay. Yeah. And interestingly enough, most of the cosplayers that I've spoken to ever since doing this podcast, a lot of them started during COVID. So that's interesting. COVID obviously hurt a lot of people, but I guess for some people it gave them that creativity, that space to really get into cosplaying. So that's interesting. That is interesting.
And that's the point I made about the views. You don't know who you're influencing.
That was my full time. I went full time in 2019 for conventions. So right before.
Yeah, you had just restocked on all the merch.
Yeah, it's 20 grand.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we restocked for the year.
Holy shit, dude. Yeah, that's crazy.
Fun times.
Yeah, and now I'm trying to imagine that on a bigger scale of all of these other creators who did the same thing you did, and then they crashed the whole economy, the whole art economy crashing.
Yeah. I mean, luckily everybody was online, and after a couple months, sales were really great, and everybody was very supportive of art, and it was actually a really good time for artists, despite everything else going on in the world. But you definitely had to pivot and adapt to the situation. And I feel like we're having kind of a similar situation now where shows are super competitive. The animation industry is falling apart. So we have these 20, 30-year-old or 30-year veterans in the industry who are goated at what they do, being I'm going to do that thing that has like no entry level. So like all the like newbies like can't stand a chance against them.
Damn.
Which is like, I understand, but it's also, I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Yeah, and I also see at conventions when there's like those artists who are like, I've been working for 30 years, and you see their booth and it's not like a merch booth, it's just like a promote themselves type of like, here's all the books that I've like, here's all the covers I've drawn, and it's great for them, but I'm wondering what would happen if they like were like, what, let me just try and get into Artist Alley and see what happens, you know? Like that would be crazy.
That's what's happening. It's a lot of them aren't great at like booth displays, so they're not crazy competition yet, but once they figure it out, I mean, they've got the skills, so that's not the problem.
Yeah, because they come from that era of comic book artists, like where you just had to sit there and people recognize you immediately.
I guess I also wanted to ask about like, how has like the AI situation impacted cosplayers?
Not really, not as much as people think they do.
You know what? Let me see. This is interesting because you've probably seen a lot more of this than I have. I've seen some people talk about it, but let me let her finish and then we can discuss that.
I think the only income lost is if their reel is making more money than your reel, but that's not your responsibility. That's kind of Instagram and TikTok's responsibility, right? So I don't see an issue with it personally, because the point of cosplay is community, and people want to see that. Like until AI can recreate comedy and skits, I don't think it's gonna be a competition. Like you can show off a cool video of somebody like walking into a room with like a costume and it looks real because it's AI, but people know it's not real because, you know, we're getting smarter about it. Even if that account gets like 1 million followers, I don't think that affects like actual creators in that
it's
way.
not really the hardcore like cosplay community anyways that's going to engage with those accounts, I think.
And it's not like the fans who are going to spend money on an AI account, you know, like they're like a lot of, well, at least for me, I support creators because I want them to continue doing what they're doing, and I enjoy like the content that they make. And if you know that an AI person is making this, like I'm not going to pay them money to do AI. I'm going to pay somebody money because I know that their art is like really hard to produce. And I also want to motivate them by giving them money. And I think AI art, there's like not really that sense there. It's like this guy's just going to make AI art regardless of his skill set, his income, or any, you know, it's just going to happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think it's similar, sort of. I think because that's one of the biggest questions I get as an artist in the convention space, in the community space. Like it's not really affected us at all. Where it has affected us is, again, like animation industry collapsing because it's affecting them. So then we're getting more competition in our spaces. Is there a large group of, say, like costumers or like theater or TV show people who are working that also do cosplay?
There we go. Yeah, that's probably a good spot. All right, so I don't remember the names, but I have seen a lot of people call out some Instagram accounts that it seems like it's just AI cosplaying. Now, you may know more about that than I do, so you please just, you know, speak freely on that. And I've also seen a lot of people call out. I think I just saw a TikTok this morning of a girl at a convention, calling out some guys who had some AI art. I can't remember what the art was, but she was like telling people don't buy that because that's AI. So I want to hear your perspective on those kind of situations with AI being involved in the cosplay community and stuff like that.
So first, I want to go back to what Stella Chuu said about it's not necessarily harming the community. I think it is, and that's only because of the people you find on the internet. Because I've seen people receive DMs saying, "Hey, that's great what you made, but an AI made it better, so I'm going to get funding this." I think that was more hopeful thinking that people wouldn't be like that, but people are like that. They're directly sending message requests. They're directly saying, "Hey, I ran your cosplay, I ran your art through an AI, and they did it better." Like that is so harmful. Like that's like imposter syndrome on steroids. Like, okay, great, a computer can do it. Why am I even trying? Like, I think that I didn't agree. I did not agree with that. In terms of AI in general, my thought is I'm really confused where the idea that they could just make this a free thing without even considering copyright and not make it a paid software that people could pay for it to use and not steal everyone's stuff.
Right.
All the stuff we're seeing is generated from the internet. Even our DMs now are being generated so that they can make their AI sound more human. And there was no consent process to this. Like what started with DeviantArt, I actually used to have a DeviantArt and I had to delete it because they first trained their AI on DeviantArt where they just said, hey, if you don't want your artwork stolen, delete your account. That's you don't do that to people. Those people trusted DeviantArt to be able to have their stuff be on there and have it be safe, and it was just stolen by a robot and anyone can generate their stuff. I could be generated on an AI if someone had a cosplayer AI. Like,
right.
I didn't consent to that. So that's where the harm is coming in from AI, and it could have been utilized so much better. It could have been, but we're in this boat, and like you mentioned with the artist, an artist alley, it's just like, okay, I can just type in a few words and I can print out all of these prints and I could sell it. It's like what you mentioned of a $5 model and then selling it for $1,000. It's not. It's a lot of artists spend years making the stuff that they need to for Artist Alley, and someone just typing in a prompt to sell it for the same price is basically laughing in their face for all the work that they've put into it.
Right.
It's losing the purpose of art.
Yeah, I swear I just saw something too, maybe yesterday or Sunday, where there was issue with people AI copying Pokemon cards potentially as well. Like it's like I've seen like a whole slew of issues where conventions and stuff like that. And so that's why I was curious. And then obviously I've seen people talk about, I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember her name, but a lot of people I follow were posting about it on their stories about this person's just doing AI cosplaying and everything. And so I was like, I didn't even think you could do an AI cosplaying. But I will say people are, for the most part, are pretty good at pointing that out. Like, hey, this is AI. So you just gotta hope that more people point it out and decide to actually get the authenticity of an actual artist. Because I think that is something AI can't do. It can't. You see a lot of people go with AI for like certain things, but it can't mimic the actual human authenticity and things like that. So,
yeah.
And I think maybe even in the streaming space as well, there was like a moment where they were like showing AI streamers, like Twitch streamers and things like that. You can't, like, as long as you are an authentic person, as long as your stuff that you're doing is authentic, there's a human element behind it, more people are going to flock to that than they are to the AI. So that's crazy. That's crazy stuff.
One thing that's also with the AI bit of cosplay is even your phone, or if you're using the photo editing on your phone, apps that I used to use, I had to stop using any and all filters, whatever, because they just slip it in and be like, hey, you consented to this. Like, I did not consent to having AI used in my filters. What do you mean? And I only caught it because I was editing a photo and I found that a piece, like my under eye here, was bled into the circle I had on my face when I was Lucifer from Has Been Hotel. I went, is that AI? Did that filter really just use AI? And it was just, it wasn't even like a filter to modify my face. It was a lighting filter to like make the lighting more depth. It had more depth. And I was like, I'm just going to delete this because I don't want AI with my stuff. I want it to be authentic, because that's the whole point of my platform, at least, is the authentic how authentic you can be with cosplay, pretty much. And yeah, keep the play in it and not have it all be so focused on
Yeah.
the, like I think I mentioned before, the consumerism behind it and just making it continue to be a hobby. But before I go on about that, I'm going to.
No, you're fine.
Well, we
can save that for another video. So no,
Yes,
you're
exactly.
completely fine.
Mm.
Yes, but they don't have the same kind of like
Costumers or like theater or TV show people who are working that also do cosplay.
Yes, but they don't have the same kind of like social media energy.
I see.
I feel like a lot of people who enter in those industries they do that because they want to escape like the chaos that cosplay community has. Like everyone complains about the cosplay community having drama and it's all like a popularity contest, and people who leave that, like those are their biggest if you try and rejoin the cosplay community, you're gonna get bombarded by those two problems very quickly. I'm saying that from their perspective. From my perspective, I don't experience.
That was a weird cut. Oh no.
Energy.
I see.
I feel like a lot of people who enter in those industries they do that because they want to escape like the chaos that cosplay community has. Like everyone complains about the cosplay community having drama and it's all like a popularity contest, and people who leave that, like those are their biggest if you try and rejoin the cosplay community, you're gonna get bombarded by those two problems very quickly. I'm saying that from their perspective.
I wonder what was cut right there. That was a weird edit.
Yeah, that was a pretty weird edit.
From my perspective, I don't experience a lot of toxicity in the cosplay community because honestly, as a veteran, I have chosen the people that I want in my life, and I choose wisely. And so having surrounding myself with good people was what made the cosplay community good for me. But I can see how somebody who's only been in it for like a year or 2 years and they join the wrong group and they get burned, or I don't know, they're not getting what they want out of it, it's very easy for them to leave.
I see.
Yeah. And for me, it's really hard for me to leave now because this is my home. This is my tribe.
Yeah. How did you get into this?
So I studied graphic design in college, and I chose graphic design even though I wanted to be a sculpture major. I just knew that there was no such thing as income for a sculpture major. It's such a small pool. Like I think about things in like the bigger picture. I don't want to be a unique person in a like a small thing. I want to be a unique person in a big thing because then at least I can guarantee an income.
Yeah, ceiling's a little bit higher.
Yeah, like that's why like moving to Los Angeles was really big for me, and I don't know, just surrounding myself with content creators, not just cosplayers. That was really important to me. So for college, I chose graphic design because I knew that it could take me places like monetary wise. It was right at the recession was when I graduated. Like I think I was like in the middle of the recession when I graduated.
I see.
And I was able to find jobs because graphic design was fine. It was protected because mobile apps was starting to become a thing. So like remember Zanga?
Yeah. We have some friends who still work on stuff.
Yeah. Like so I entered in doing like apps and games, and I did that for about 6 years. But at the same time that I graduated was when I started cosplaying as well, because I had started getting disposable income. So like money became part of my hobby. Like it just helped funneled it. But if I didn't have a job, I don't think I would have been able to like support a cosplay like hobby.
Yeah.
Because cosplay like is not just making the costume, is traveling to the convention and not making money at the convention, right? Because we're not selling anything, we're just standing around like taking pictures. So I did graphic design for 6 years. I also performed burlesque, which was really fun, and it really helped with my cosplay career, because performing and making costumes for a performance was like, it was almost like boot camp.
Yeah.
You can't just like hot glue a costume together and perform it on stage. It's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So I got really good at like doing that, like making costumes from doing that. And then eventually, once I got big enough, I moved to California and then decided to do cosplay full time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could have probably done it sooner, but the company I was with had unlimited vacation days, and I took advantage of that so hard. I think I went into work 70% of the time.
That's rare, especially in the States.
Yeah, dude. It was at the time.
What kind of company has unlimited vacation days?
One I wish I had.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I'd be at so many cons if that was the case.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yep.
That is interesting. I'm about to try to find that out now.
15 years ago, like 10 years ago, that was like a peak startup. That era of startups where like all the startups have ping pong tables and unlimited vacation days.
People ask me how to get into like what I'm doing or how to like make something livable. And it's so weird because my perspective was like, I was making minimum wage.
I don't know why the cuts are bothering me like that, but it's just
full time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could have probably done it sooner, but the company I was with had unlimited vacation days, and I took advantage of that so hard. I think I went into work 70% of the time.
Oh, no. That's rare, especially in the States. Oh,
yeah, dude. It was at the top 15 years ago, like 10 years ago, that was like a peak startup. That era of startups where like all the startups have ping pong tables and unlimited vacation days.
People ask me how to get into like what I'm doing or how to like make something livable. And it's so weird because my perspective was like, I was making minimum wage when I started doing this. So it's like any level of like, if I made $15 an hour, like that's double what I was making at the time. So it's like, I see people with like these full-time decent jobs and they're like, I want to do what you're doing. And I'm like, I can't tell you to quit that. Because it's like, I had nothing to lose.
Because I feel like hard work does translate into income nowadays because there's so many resources out there to help you with that. And so it's a matter of how much they're willing to sacrifice in their like mental health and personal time in order to convert that into income.
I see.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so this is like a normal question or like a very common question in the like Illustrator space. What is like original work or like your own creation versus like fan art or like a character? Is there like, is one looked down upon or does like one not perform as well?
So if you create original characters, you can. People love those, but that is something you'll have to consistently do all the time. And
is there anything you want to add? Because I feel like this is just more of them. They're just getting to know Stella Chuu. It seems like I don't know if there's anything that they said recently that you might want to add in on.
It sounds to me like they're getting into the differences between what type of content you create.
Okay.
To get things really flowing. So yeah, that is true. I know when I was first starting out, I was doing I was cosplaying from a dating sim that barely anyone knew about, and I did that for my first 4 years. 4 years? 2 years. My first 2 years online. And I had an awkward moment where I had a video go viral, but it wasn't my original content. I'm a scare actor, so I had slider content. If you don't know what a slider is, or the people with the sparks and that slide across the floor at a haunted house, and that got 4.9 million views. But it didn't help my page. In fact, it hurt it because the algorithm wanted to see more of that. But it was wintertime, and I wasn't about to make a bunch of outdoor sliding content. So I got the lovely side of the internet that is not very nice on all of my content that was in my cosplay stuff. And yes, I got the views from it, but did not get the interactions, did not get nice comments. I had to block so many people. So I will have to say, this is just a little quick side note that going viral was one of the worst things that has happened to me in terms of content. But the Stella Chuu is absolutely right. It's you find one thing and then it's good to just keep going. However, there is a way to play with the algorithm to be able to I was like, okay, I'm making this one thing. Like for example, this is happening with my Adam from Hazbin Hotel cosplay right now. I post a bit of it, and I got a good stream. And then once those views start going down, okay, let's post this other cosplay, and then rinse and repeat. And it does help get that momentum going.
Okay.
Have never created original characters, and I don't necessarily want to go down that path, I guess, because that path can lead to a lot of extra work for me. So instead, I'm just kind of focusing on just doing fan art.
Gotcha.
Doing.
Is that what it's called in the cosplay?
Not
world?
Really. Yeah, we don't call it fan art. We just call it cosplay.
I guess the cosplay is the like cultural something or
cosplay
something.
it's in itself fan art. It's a subsection of fan art, but we don't call it. We don't like see it as the same as somebody who drew a piece of fan art because it's about becoming the character but also being yourself at the same time. And so it's kind of like when an artist has a very specific style that everyone goes to them for, and it doesn't matter what the character is, they just care about the style. So that's kind of what cosplay is. It's like they don't care what the character, people don't care what the character is, they care about the person wearing the character.
I see.
Yeah, at least from like if you want to grow as a cosplayer. There are certain cosplayers who just transform and you can't tell who they are. Like you didn't recognize, they walk down the street, you don't even recognize them because they're in a like complete, they have prosthetics and everything. But those people find it harder to grow. I see. Because the recognizability,
Understood.
Yeah.
Does that play at all into like contests or at all?
100 people enter the cosplay contest. The cosplay contest does not get broadcasted. It only the audience members get to watch it, and it takes up all of Saturday. Like 100, you get up at 9 a.m. and you perform your whatever skit that you want to perform at 6 p.m. But all along that way, you don't have, like, they keep you in a like little room on the side because you have to get like prejudged and stuff. So you waste your entire Saturday. In that time, a TikToker would have made like 50 videos with 300 people, right? And could have gotten
I've seen you do
like 100 million views. Instead, you locked yourself in the prejudging room. You're on stage. People see your costume, but they don't see you, right? Like no matter how good the camera quality is on that stage camera, like they don't see you. They see like your performance and your costume. So after that is done, the audience isn't going to be like, oh, I have to go follow that person, right? Like the 1,000 people in the audience isn't going to be like, oh, I saw their Instagram on the screen, I'm going to write that down right now. Because like they never put your Instagram up. They never put anything up. And so it's a thankless performance. And like as I judge cosplay contests, I host cosplay contests. So I'm like, I love the concept of them, but I hate how faceless it is and how thankless it is. And even if you win the prize, who fucking cares? Name one person that you guys know who is famous who's won a cosplay contest.
Do you just want to wait and go through the entire segment before we hit that, or do you want to?
I already have a lot to say.
Oh, that's right. I was just wondering for my sake because. Oh
yeah, that's entirely up to you. I can wait, but I also do have a comment about being a cosplayer that transforms and how difficult it is to get traction because of it. But
go ahead and hit that part.
So, as you know, I cosplay a lot of men, and I have had plenty of times being like, "There's no way this is the same person." Even I have a hard time looking at some of the stuff that I've made and be like, that's weird that this Freeran is also this Leon Kennedy from Requiem. Like, what do you mean? So it's very rare for people to recognize me outside of cosplay unless when I start posting more videos of what I look like when I'm just myself and like being in podcasts as myself. That is the only time anyone's able to recognize me. So it was nice originally at cons where I would go and just enjoy the con. Like, hey, I have a sense of autonomy, but it also makes it difficult to become a guest because people don't know what you look like, and also they expect one thing and they get the other, and it's just like I feel like I'm talking to a completely different person. I don't know how to interact with this person. So that is completely true. Being a cosplayer that transforms, yeah, it's difficult. But would you like me to get into the before or no?
This is a big chunky segment. Let me back up because I just want to be sure I heard a certain part real quick.
People in the audience isn't going to be like, oh, I saw their Instagram on the screen, I'm going to write that down right now. Because like they never put your Instagram up. They never put anything up. And so it's a thankless performance. And like as I judge cosplay contests, I host cosplay contests. So I'm like, I love the concept of them, but I hate how faceless it is and how thankless it is. And even if you win the prize, who fucking cares? Name one.
I don't think I agree with that because it may be pointless to you, but for that individual, that can mean everything to them. Mm-hmm. All the work that they put into their cosplay, all the months, weeks, and days that they spent, almost every dollar that they had building their cosplay, and they have the opportunity to go out on a stage and present their cosplay, all the hard work that they did, that they put into it, to everybody there, that means a lot to everybody. It's like
A lot of people compete for the reward.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I'm trying to think of a good example. I had it in the back of my mind as she was talking about it, but I can't think of what it was. But I just don't agree with that. I just think it may mean a lot to a lot of people, and so I don't know if I just don't agree with that little part. She may say more I don't agree with, but I just that's tough to say.
I think that's a very bold statement, because that's
Yeah.
kind of like everyone is like this. And like a lot of the things you're saying are very individual experiences. Like the Instagram thing, I won the judges award once at a cosplay competition. And I had so many people afterwards being like, what is your Instagram? I need to know. I need to know more about you. What made you want to cosplay this character? I think it's a great way to really just display that you are also someone who loves that character as much as some people, as people in the audience. And I think it's a great way to make connections.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, competition. There's nothing wrong with competition. Like, there's nothing wrong with these kind of contests and stuff like that.
As long as it stays on the stage and doesn't leak into.
Yeah. I mean, imagine telling your kid that the project that they worked on, like, even if you won, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you did this in vain. You could have been doing something else. Like, no.
That's such a. I don't like that. That is
Person. Name one person that you guys know who is famous who's won a cosplay contest. It is so thankless.
You probably know people.
I never thought of it like that.
It's so sad to me, because even within the cosplay community, like, you could be standing there with like a cool costume and nobody will give a shit about you because they don't know who you are. And it is a popularity contest, unless you posted a video of your making of the costume or posted that you won the cosplay contest, nobody cares. And it's so sad to me.
Don't they announce like who these people, who, like, when they come up on stage and stuff like that? Now, I mean, obviously I can understand to maybe extent where, well, no, I can't actually. No, now I'm thinking about it. No, I really can't, because like I could see where, like, maybe the contest, let's say you had a top 3, maybe you had like their Instagram or like their social media or something in the background of them.
Yeah, like as the person's walking across the stage. Or performing. That'd be fantastic. In fact, I think it would be a great
that would be great. Now, it sounds like that's what maybe she's talking about, but still, I
don't agree with what she's saying right now. Like I said, it sounds like a very individual experience, but it's being worded as this is just the way it is, and I don't think that's how it should be worded.
Yeah, I think that's how I'm trying to I think that's how it's processing in my mind.
Yeah,
and it's just it's not jiving with me.
No.
So I actually came up with a different concept. It's called a cosplay showcase, in which I personally invite cosplayers from the local area, or maybe all around the US, depending on the budget. And I ask them to come on stage in their best costume, and I interview them for 5 minutes and explain they get to talk about their craft. They talk about what they love, and like we show off like everything that they're talking about, like a presentation style. So it's this like great way for the audience to finally get like just a whiff of who this person is.
Okay, I think if you would have said it, I think if you would have led off with this little aspect, it would have came off a little bit better. Now, again, probably in hindsight, you're just talking through the episode and the recording and all that, whatever. But like that, like she just mentioned, I'm okay with that. I think that's great. It gives a small spotlight to these cosplayers. It gives a chance for them to talk about their craft. It gives a chance for them to, tell the audience who's watching a little bit about themselves, that kind of stuff. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think, if you would have kind of led with that.
Yeah. Like providing a solution to a problem.
Right.
Like, I'm sure I know a lot of people who leave cosplay competitions that don't win. They're very devastated. And yes, that is, it makes sense to feel that way. And it's and you can receive some people in the background, or even the judges themselves can actually make or break a cosplay competition. They can make a break cosplay for someone 100%. I've run into some very toxic judges. I've run into some very toxic competitors, sore winners, sore losers, etc. That just, it's like, why am I even here anymore? Like, that's kind of the mindset that I had at first before I just kept pushing forward. Like, that was just a one-time thing. That was a one-time thing. And then I met a judge that was at MatsuriCon one year. I wish I knew the name of their socials, but they made cosplay for me. It's like the way that they interacted with me, it was like this. It was like a cosplay showcase where I got to talk about my love of the character. I got to talk about how much I love cosplay and what it does for me while I was being judged and how I made the cosplay. This is a great solution for the toxicity that can come out of cosplay competitions. And it shows the human side of cosplayers. I think this is a great idea, and that it should have been presented in a way that it should have been like, here's a solution to a problem that we have within this community, versus being like, everyone has this issue. It is garbage. Let's do this instead. It's like, you need to start with that instead.
Yeah, I'm probably doing like a, if you're going to enter a cosplay competition, depending on what the number is, maybe one of the things you have them do is maybe record a, I don't know, 2-3 minute video of them just introducing themselves. Maybe talk a little bit the cosplay that they're doing, or something like that. Yeah, like again, like you just mentioned, she presented a solution to a problem, but how she presented it is what more people are talking about than the actual solution she gave. So
I've never seen discouragement spread across the community so fast after hearing someone along the lines of
I did see a lot of that on TikTok, maybe a little bit of YouTube, maybe YouTube, Instagram, but it's mainly I saw that on TikTok. So that was
it's like, Mel, I've spent all this time learning how to be a cosplayer, and I feel like I just wasted all of my time.
Yeah,
it's devastating what happened.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to check this out and see what everybody was talking about, because I was just seeing all that. So I was like, oh, let me see what this is.
And I also pay them for it, because like the cosplay contest people don't get paid unless you win.
Oh,
that's so sad to me. It's so upsetting.
Wait, so where's this showcase held?
This is
your own creation?
Yeah, I did it at the I think LA Comic-Con, and then I did oh my god, I can't remember all the places I did it, but
so this is an ongoing thing.
Oh yeah, Twitch. I did it at Twitch.
Oh,
so at Twitch
this year?
Last year.
Okay.
Yeah. This year they skipped out on cosplay contest stuff. They just completely like cut it out of the budget. Well, it wasn't in the budget, so unfortunately. But TwitchCon cosplay contests has always been this big thing. In their first year, the payout was like $12,000.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or something like that.
Pretty
and my
good.
friend actually won it.
Wow.
My friend Chad won it, and he won with like a giant Reinhardt that was like 8 feet tall, 12 feet wide. Amazing costume, and he deserved to win.
I've seen this.
This
sounds
crazy. Familiar. It's insane. He's missing an eye, so he had like a glowing eyeball in his eye too.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, because he's
super cool.
Yeah. Cosplay contests, they're thankless, and it makes me really sad. And I think people deserve better recognition.
So who enter like these contests then?
Everyone does, but no one that you know does. That's the problem.
Yeah, because it seems like the perception is like that's like the path.
Yeah.
Or like, again, from an outsider looking in.
I agree. People think that cosplay contests are the thing, but even as me as a professional cosplayer, I know maybe 5 or 10 people who enter into cosplay contests of my community, which is crazy. I'll judge a cosplay contest, I'll host a cosplay contest, and I'll recognize maybe 2 people in that lineup of 100.
That's crazy.
Like, it'd be so cool if all of my friends entered cosplay contests together, and it was a more fun experience, and it was more reality TV kind of, where you as an audience member get to participate on like an intimate level. And that's why like TV show contests are so popular, is because there's a camera following the contestant and showing their backstory. It's more about the person. And I think cosplay contests are just so outdated now. They don't do anyone justice.
Damn.
Okay.
I can agree with the outdated part, like what we talked about, where it's better to show the human behind the cosplay.
Right.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Now going into what she was talking about with you don't see a lot of cosplayers that you recognize. If I will say right now that I don't really compete because I have a fear that I'm going to get stigmatized for competing, because there's a lot of like what happened almost immediately after COVID was a lot of content creators went in to compete, and it created a popularity contest where the judges were more biased towards the content creators versus someone who just started cosplaying, etc. So it's like, oh, well, you're just joining for popularity. I'm like, no, I would actually legitimately like to win so that I could eventually become a cosplay judge, because I want to be able to be someone who helps people with their cosplays. But it's kind of like getting worried about receiving backlash for joining a cosplay competition. And for people who like in my community, I have to push a lot of people to do the cosplay competitions, because like, well, I really want to show off my work. I really want to just like have something in my possession to show that I put in this work. And I'm just like, do it. Like, but I'm nothing compared to you. I'm like, don't compare yourself.
Right.
Comparison is what stops people all the time from doing the cosplay competitions, because they're following someone to like, you compare their work to it, and it's just like, no, don't compare your work. What you're doing is great. You should show off what you've done.
Right. I thought about it, because one of the things that I want to do is, it probably won't be like a big scale, like, but something at least I want to do, like my Instagram and some of the people that I interact with in the cosplay community, is because I thought about doing like a small little cosplay competition with generally the guests I've had on, like a select number of guests that I've had on, just for fun. Everybody, that way everybody can participate, everybody can feel like they're involved, and just, hey, today's Monday, so here is choose this cosplay or something like that. Obviously I want everybody to like not make it like a full popularity contest or anything like that. I just want, from what I've seen with a lot of cosplaying and stuff like that, it does sometimes, again, this is me being an outsider, not really a cosplayer or anything like that. It does seem like it does get a little, what's the word? Not fun at times. It like maybe like clicky, and maybe there is some like popularity contest stuff involved. But I guess that's probably like one of the reasons why I started the podcast, was to, one, meet cosplayers, and then two, when I get to a certain point, I don't know when they'll be, but I'm gonna, definitely try to do it at a certain point, but try to build my brand enough to where I can do, or I can host cosplay competitions, or I can do these type of things that I'm seeing, because so I definitely can understand feeling like not a part of something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's a lot of cosplayers like that who maybe feel that way as well, especially when it comes to competitions. Like, hey, you didn't win, but your cosplay is still amazing. You still put in so much work into this, that you deserve recognition, and that's okay. That is completely fine that you didn't win. That's life. We all don't win at life sometimes, but you still deserve to be recognized for the effort and the passion that you put into your cosplay. And so I try to encourage a lot of people.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
A whole crowd still saw your cosplay, and that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So cause I at least try every day to, if I see people's cosplays and stuff like that, and just shoot them some message. Hey, this is great. Because that encouragement can go a long way for some people.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting. So I think these contests are important to some extent. Yeah, they can be tweaked, they can be worked on, but
yeah,
I think
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So
yeah, I've had a moment.
Yeah,
that's not.
Yeah, No, go ahead. Okay, my bad.
I've had a moment where I've done cosplay competitions just because I just wanted to be a part of it because I like competing. I like going in and being a part of an event. And I walk into a cafe to be a part of a mini con that they're having. They're like, hey, we have a cosplay competition. Did you want to join? And the moment I say yes, I see an entire group of people get up and walk out.
Really?
It's like, mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. It's
interesting.
So it's kind of I want to say it's like a sensitive thing almost. And it's just like, I want you to stay. I wanted to get an opportunity to like hang out with all of you. I feel like I made a mistake wanting to join in on the fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, individually, everybody wants to be a part of something. And so that sucks to hear.
Mm-hmm. It's discouraging to me as well.
Yeah,
like, maybe I shouldn't show up to these things in cosplay. I don't know, but I want to because they're fun.
Yeah, so that is crazy. But yeah, it's because like a lot of times all I hear from cosplayers is, you know, the cosplay community is welcome. They're open and everybody can come and everything like that. No, obviously it's not perfect. No community is perfect, but that's really crazy to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Where I thought that was going. Interesting. Okay, cool.
I have strong opinions about it, and I think that cosplay contests worked 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, but certainly not now in this day and age of social media and people like hustling and trying to make money off of their hobbies. And and because of that, the only people who enter into cosplay contests, that's their whole thing that they care about, and they don't do anything else. So you never get to see their art because they only compete in the contests. They don't have time to like share their art on social media and whatnot, because once you realize that the rewards of social media are way higher than what you can get from a cosplay contest, like if say you won 2 cosplay contests a year, your ceiling of income from that is probably $5,000 if you go to the really nice conventions, right?
And the craftsmanship's probably got to be higher than you need for like something that's on screen for 2 seconds.
Oh my god, with people who fucking make their own shoes, you know, they like weave straw and make their own like sandals or something. Yeah, those people are crazy. People who loom their own fabric.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So
I made my own shoes the one time I entered a cosplay contest. Hey! I did not loom anything.
I can sew a pillow.
Hey, that is fantastic. It's so fantastic.
Right.
You make some nice pillows.
I was very proud of that pillow.
Good, as you should be.
I don't know how to do that. But yeah, I felt kind of snubbed because it was a smaller show and I spent a lot of time. I wanted to get into costuming for the longest time. And I realized really quickly that I didn't want to do costumes for other people. And I was like, maybe this is a bad career path then. So I pivoted to art, which I enjoy much more. But yeah, I did a costume and I entered my first contest. And there was nothing against like all of the original characters were like clearly snubbed, even on stage. They were like, I don't know who this is, blah, 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 blah. And I remember feeling so annoyed because maybe it's ego speaking, but I was like, I know my craftsmanship's better than all these fucking people. And I was like, fuck you guys.
Exactly.
When you bought half of that.
Exactly.
Which is fine, but not when it's
when it's a competition. You know, it's fine to do a good costume and that you made from Amazon, but when it's a competition, any other competition in the world requires you to put in so much more of your personal effort and your personal skill. And cosplay contests, for some reason, people get so mad that they put on the costume. Why can't they win? I'm like, because you bought it, dude. Like, even I buy costumes all the time, but I'm not gonna like.
I know exactly where they're coming from, and this is not translating well.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, okay. So what they're talking about is the frustration of the judges not knowing who they're cosplaying, and it's affecting their ability to win the cosplay competition. I've had that happen to me multiple times where the judge is like, well, I just don't know your character. And it does nothing. It affects my score. That's where that's coming from. So it's just like, I put so much more, like I've heard how the people are making their cosplays. For example, the one that I won the judges award for, it was from the dating sim again, that no one really knew about. But I got it because I shared my story of why I went ahead and went through with the competition. And that was because I had a friend that unfortunately passed away 2 weeks before the competition. And if I would have dropped out, he would have been so disappointed in me. So I went ahead and went through with it, even though I just spent a lot of time. It was actually 4 weeks before the competition. I spent 2 weeks grieving, and I was like, there's no way I can do this, but that friend would have been disappointed. So I shared that story with the judges, and that was stated. That was the reason why I got the judges award. But they didn't recognize my character. I put metalworking into it. I did welding. I did woodworking. I did EVA foam. I worked with Warbler for the first time. I made 4 wings. I sewed everything but the pants that I wore, and then I customized my shoes. So I get the frustration of I'm not getting more points because they don't know what I'm cosplaying.
Mm.
So that's what, at least I think that's what they're actually getting to, but it's not being said directly.
Okay.
Say, oh my god, I'm amazing because I bought this costume.
Yeah.
Like there's a time and place for everything, and people need to realize that cosplay contests are a very specific thing. You can't just join and be like, well, what the fuck, I didn't win. And like, okay, yeah, because you weren't good enough. Like, have you never been to art school? Have you never gotten criticized by an art teacher who says your shit?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, I used to teach at an art school, so it's interesting to see who like can take crits well or not.
Yeah, I think everyone who does art needs to have gone through that like gauntlet of some kind, because even if you can't afford art school, at least just like simulate it in your life and get somebody who just like makes you feel like your art's not great, so then you work really hard on it.
Oh, God.
I can kind of understand at least the aspect of the buying and making cosplay part of the like entering the contest. I can kind of get behind that because personally for me, if I'm outsider looking in, it does. I guess it means a lot more if someone baked an apple pie compared to just going to Walmart and buying the pie and presenting it at the bakery or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
they're still apple pies. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It's like I put a lot of love and work into this, and it's like when you get a gift from someone, and it's I bought you this versus I made you this. Like,
right.
Yeah. And that's I would say that mindset is valid for cosplay competitions,
right?
Because you are being judged on what you made. But a lot of the things that I also think that also could have been worded better here is go to the after panels where they give you critique. Oh. That is the art school. That is why a lot of people like I compete to learn what I can do better. That's what a lot of people do. They do it to go to the afterwards and find out what they could have done better. That is your art school for cosplay. Because you learn from judges who have been doing it for a very long time.
I didn't know they had those.
Some cons do. A lot of them are doing them more often because they're so beneficial.
Oh, that is interesting.
This has been great.
I'm learning so much. Oh my God.
I'm glad. I love talking about this stuff because it's hard to convey this information.
I watch Sarah Spaceman a lot. I like her content, but I was like, there was definitely something missing about it where I was like, how you make money? How are these people able to do this?
Yeah, I'm so privileged. I've heard of Sarah Spaceman. Yeah, I've heard of her videos. I should probably sit down and actually watch them. But yeah, she has a lot of like hot takes is what I gather.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what's hot versus.
Are you familiar with that cosplayer?
I'm not, no.
Okay.
Hot take versus.
I remember, isn't she the one who talked about
someone buying a costume someone else made and use it for like a craftsmanship competition?
That's fucked up.
She was like reporting on like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you heard about that?
I've seen it happen too. So cosplay, or even they commissioned it off of Etsy and they try to enter it as if it was their own piece. That is cheating.
Oh. That's crazy. That is insane. That is nuts.
Is there any suggestions you would give to somebody who wants to like enter the space?
I would say don't go towards the craftsmanship side of cosplay. Not right now. Maybe later. But when you're starting off, follow what all the famous TikTokers are doing and just do what they do. Because that will guarantee you income, that will guarantee you follows, and that will guarantee you sponsorships. Because once you can prove that you can output like actual videos and content like that, then that will gain you some income, because companies are always looking for people who are reliable, can make deadlines, and have like a good online presence. Craftsmanship wise, if you right now, until you get good, you have to keep it as a hobby. You cannot, it's going to be so hard for you to start off.
Like top
and
5-10% of craftsmen are the ones that are going to stand out probably.
Like, and there's no such thing as apprenticeships in cosplay. Like, I'm one of like 20 people I know in the world who actually hire other people to help them make costumes, but also to help them elevate to a different level. Like my assistant Jessie Zergi, I hired her on 3 years ago, and I the day when I took her, and I was like, I'm going to give you all of my skills. I'm going to teach you everything I know, so you become me. So in a way, she's my apprentice because of it. So in 3 years.
Do you see a lot of that in the cosplay space, or maybe it's just a Stella Chuu kind of a thing?
I only see that because that's what I do. I teach cosplay classes. I even teach them in person. I used to teach them very frequently on lives, but now I'm going to be moving it towards Patreon to be more of a open up mentorships to people to teach them skills so that I could help them directly with their cosplays. That's the only time I've seen it, really. I actually didn't know that Stella Chuu did that. That's amazing. I'm glad there's more people that are doing it, because we do need more people to do that.
She's learned 3D printing, airbrushing, better at sewing, and like fabricating just for a client and not just for herself and stuff. Yeah.
I see. That's cool. We're buying a 3D printer. I'm very excited.
Ooh, are you getting the bamboo printer? Because that's the best one.
I think we were looking at it. We're getting a resin one, and then I want a bamboo one for the not resin.
Got it.
Not resin one.
Yes. And what's great about it is that I can pull it up on my phone right now and show you what I'm printing. You can't do that with the resin printer. Yeah. Like I can pull up my camera and
there's like a webcam in the printer.
Yeah.
So you're printing right now.
Huh.
All
That's
7
actually
printers.
really cool.
I have this one.
Yeah, there you go.
Do this.
Oh.
And it's not anything I had to install it. I already had it on
Wait,
there.
what are you printing? Is this a secret project?
Dude, and now you can print in a material called TPU, which is bendy and squishy. So imagine a piece of armor that is bendy and squishy. And I can just toss it on the floor and it won't shatter.
I remember when I seen like all the Warblood tutorials like years ago, and I was like, fuck that.
Warblood?
Warblood?
Well, Warblood, yes. Yeah, fuck Warblood, man. How to give yourself asbestos fingers is through Warblood. Like you just burn yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Danielle De Nicola was like a big Warblood fan for a long time.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
So 2 3D printers. That's what I'm hearing.
Jeez. Honestly, it's so fun. It's so great. I don't think I've ever hated 3D printing. I've always loved it. It's so fun. Resin printing though, I hate.
Okay, good.
Straight up fucking hate it.
Okay.
I wish I could compare it to something that like print. It's like worse than printmaking. You know, like lithography. Like imagine if you were a lithographer, or the person who does the acid burning into copper plates and shit.
You're gonna piss off so many of our audience.
Sorry, but imagine if that's what you had to do every time you needed to make a art.
I never liked it either.
Yeah, exactly, because the chemicals are so bad, and they're like, oh, you have to like keep the acid clean and whatever. Like, I don't know, like keep it into the correct vat, and then all the rags that you use, you have to make sure you dispose of it properly. Yeah.
That was always, they always like argue. They're like, it's like an original, but it's a print, and I was like, but you can't sell it for any more than a print.
Yeah.
Why are you putting in all that work?
Yeah.
I don't know. Fine artists, whatever.
Yeah. Well, you know, going with art school, you know. It's like...
Oh, is there any content types that are like good hacks that you're like, this always works? How do I get famous like tomorrow?
Right off the bat, trends are not the best way to get followers. It's a great way to get views. If you want followers, you need to become a personality, and you need to communicate with your audience as if they're FaceTiming them. So all of your content should feel like a FaceTime. And that's the easiest, fastest way to grow an audience who cares about you. But
I think a good example, this is not a cosplaying thing, but a good example is Queso.
Yes, I love Queso. Yes.
The personality equals followers, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I agree. He is just so fun to watch. Like, and he just hit 10 million subscribers on YouTube, I think. And what I love about it is he's one of those, like, he's not the only one. There's a good bit of them out there, but he is one of those people that I think when he hit 10 million subscribers, he showed off the $10 million, not $10 million, but the 10 subs plaque that he got from YouTube and everything. And he was just talking about how we did this. He makes his community a part of it. Like he doesn't use them for the views and the donations and all that stuff. He makes you feel like you're actually like family with him.
Mm-hmm. Your community is a part of your journey. You would not be there without them. And that's why I keep getting frustrated with the talks about popularity and that's like you're forgetting your community
right
while you're talking about this, because you would not be here if it wasn't for them.
Yep, I agree.
If you want good quality content, like you don't care about that kind of like move fast, get fast. People have been really loving the like overproduced, gorgeous like video essays where somebody's sitting at their desk and they turn and it's like a different camera angle and they're walking and then the different camera angle is as if like it's a whole production and there's words on the screen and it's kind of like, how do you motivate yourself when you're feeling down? And then you're that's like the hook. That's the hook.
Yeah.
You start off with that and it's like all these almost like self-help. So that I feel like tends to do really well. And I'm saying that because I have a friend who literally made her career doing that. In like 1 month, she grew 1 million followers. She did a thing that was 30 lessons before you turn 30. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
She grew 1 million followers overnight from that. It was incredibly well produced, really well directed. Great voiceover, color grading, everything. She went over the top for it.
That's what I'm seeing a lot, at least in the content space. Again, somebody looking out, just starting to try to be more content focused, is that it seems like it's easier than ever to blow up, but it's also harder for an individual to do it. If you have the resources. It's you definitely need a team now. Everyone has an editor, a social media manager and everything. But there's not enough editors and there's not enough social media managers out there. Everyone wants to be famous instead. If you guys are looking for a job, if any of your audience is oh yeah, I know how to do editing. I went to school for it. Maybe I should become an editor. Fucking put yourself out there, immediately. That is, nobody can find a good editor these days. Yeah. Everyone's having such trouble, and good editors are run so thin right now. They're spread so thin right now. I've got 3 and they're always busy.
Yeah, exactly. So people need to do that. And then content managers would be great, because now that there's so many social media platforms to post to, it'd be nice if the person's entire job was to just produce the content and then send it. And the content manager's job is to post it across all platforms. Me and my husband actually split up that job. I'll post to TikTok and Instagram, and he'll post to Facebook and YouTube for me.
It just keeps expanding and expanding.
Yeah,
I don't have that.
I don't either.
So everything you see from the Nerd Talk channel, the Shauna the D main gaming channel, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, X, all of that I typically do myself. Now that obviously could change once if I continue to grow and get big enough, then obviously I can be all right, let's hire some people to offload some of that stuff for me, and that way I can maybe focus on continuing to grow the brand and stuff like that. But for now, I basically do all of it.
That's my goal too. I want that so bad. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I'm I don't have any income to give though. Yeah,
because that's pretty much my next step of what I wanted to do is, grow enough, potentially if I could get monetized on YouTube, that's great. But I do want to get to a point to where, all right, I'm in a good spot. Let me bring on some other people to handle some things. Maybe if somebody wants to be an up and comer, maybe start their own YouTube channel, something like that. We can bring them on as be a part of the Shauna the D Man Entertainment brand, and we can go from there. So until then, it is a one-man show.
You got this. You're doing a great job already.
It's become.
It is tiring, but
It is. Oh yeah.
because most people can because I still like you. I still do the 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job every day on top of doing all the content. So yeah. Who knows what the future holds?
You have to franchise yourself when you become a content creator, which is extremely exhausting, and it takes a lot of the point of it all. Like the point of it all was that I wanted to make content, not to manage my content, not to manage did I post this correctly? Oh no, I have to delete it off this platform because the music was copyright or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at the point where I'm successful enough where I need to be doing all these things, but I'm not successful enough to have that network. I see cosplayers get invited to conventions, or at least that's what it looks like. And sometimes they don't always look like as big of a name. Maybe I have more followers than them, but as an artist, we never get invited. We're always viewed as a business. And it feels like cosplayers have this inherent celebrity factor to them. So I was wondering what the relationship between conventions and cosplayers are.
We are in the same kind of category as the voice actors.
I see.
And so instead of seeing it as followers or whatever, it's more like people come to see cosplayers as entertainers at a convention rather than as a vendor. And so when we show up, we're part of the show. Yeah, we're part of the show.
Gotcha.
And that's not across the board. There's a lot of different ways to operate on that, but that's the general kind of vibe. And not all cosplayers get paid to go. A lot of conventions will just invite their local cosplayers that are in the area who happen to be going and be like, hey, do you just want a free badge? And we'll say you're a guest of the convention, which is a horrible way to take advantage of people who don't know anything about self-worth and marketing yourself. They target a lot of young cosplayers who are new, and it's almost at this point a rite of passage, not because I want it to be a rite of passage, but I don't have the time to defend these people, and neither do a lot of other people. We don't know what's happening to them, and they just think, I'm finally being invited. I'm on the same level as all the big leagues, yay, not realizing that they're being taken advantage of. Sometimes they have to pay for their own hotel. Yeah, it's really sad. And then the convention's like, you should make a post about us. We said we invite you as a guest.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I don't think it's
that's wild.
I've had I wish I remember the names, but I've had this happen a couple of times where I was like, yeah, you can take photos of me and we can use it to boost your photography business. But the expectation in return was that I did it more often with them so that I could be able to boost their social media page, because I have good traction on Instagram right now. So if someone were to collab with me, they would get the views that they're looking for. But it's just, you have to be so careful of clout chasers. And that also goes for organizations, cons, and putting your foot down and be like, no, I know what my worth is. The one thing I would recommend for cosplayers to do that are in this boat is to have a list of standards that you will not budge on. What your needs are for a con, what your needs are for room and board, etc. If I were to be invited to a con, you would need to cover my hotel and you need to provide me with food or anything else that I would need, because that would make it so much, it would be more of a comfortable experience for me to be able to be that entertainer that they're looking for. But if they want me to just go on empty and not out financially, it's just you're not going to, this is not a both ways relationship that we have here. Yeah.
Right. Because for some people, that's, they're potentially taking maybe a day off of work to do this. And so if they're not at least somewhat being financially compensated in some way, shape, or form, then there's no point in going and doing it. So That's ugh.
as
Time-
comparable, but
Yeah.
there's been a lot of like discourse about the way that like the artist alley people are being treated. Obviously, we at the end of the day are there to make money, but it's like a lot of shows are like, oh, you have to be there in person, and you have to be at the booth, being like this celebrity person for, you know what I mean? Like you have to be there to sign all this stuff for this amount, like the 90% of the time. But also, we're going to double the booth prices, and we're going to treat you like a business. So it's like they want the celebrity factor from these big name artists, but they also want to treat them like a business. So it's like,
that's
it's like, okay, well, I'm just not going to go to your show.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
that sounds like what we were talking about earlier, where cons have lost their purpose.
Come look at the shiny things versus be a part of the community. Yeah.
That's insane. I think which I don't know if I can. Let me see if that's here. Because one thing, this isn't for this year, but this is probably going to be for next year. But I am going to be looking to, because near me, about 40 minutes from me, there is I see what I did wrong. There is Iron City Comic Con. So it's in Birmingham. It's in Birmingham, and one of the things that I'm gonna look into doing is actually putting together a panel and inviting some of the like maybe 2 or 3 of the cosplay guests that I've had on, inviting them down to attend this panel and be guests at the panel. Maybe we have a booth as well. Which, where did I see it? Oh man, I don't know where I found it. Well, I'm sure I'll find it later. But I was looking at like booth prices, and yeah, there's like other stuff that goes into it. Like, are you gonna need electricity for your booth? And there's all this little extra stuff on top of it. I'll say, oh, that's kind of nuts. But
a lot goes into doing panels at cons. I do panels with my nonprofit with cons. It's a lot. Mm-hmm.
May have to look into bringing you down then.
Okay.
It's also that conventions in general don't have a good unionization of all of their rules and their best practices. They just kind of put a band-aid on everything, and that's why cosplay contests are the way they are, right? Like everything about cons is that it usually is started by a group of friends, probably in college, and they wanted to start an event together, and they started in like a little basement and then a hotel like ballroom, and then it became a really big thing. But none of them have training in event planning. They've never planned a conference for multi-million dollar companies, like, and so that they only experience the convention space, and from that they only learn lessons within the convention space, and they don't see how they can like do it better and stuff. There's not, I feel like it's a stagnant pool of like creativity within the event planning of conventions. There's not much they can do to change it, because even with other conventions I've been to, like gaming conventions are run by these multi-million dollar companies, and yet I feel like they still kind of like lack in a certain way, but they do certain things better. They don't focus on the vendor hall, they focus on the events. They focus on community, and they'll, like, great example is Riot. They always have the fan fest outside, and it's all these cool vendors, like food and events, and like carnival. Like it's more like a carnival. Yeah. And I think that's great, especially because it's only for one day. And I feel like vendor halls and artist alleys are like pits, and it doesn't feel as fun. It's not a festival. No. It's just like a pit.
I hate the shows that are just like one floor, it's only vendors. And it's like, that's the thing we're there for. And I was like, I don't even like going there.
Yeah, you like descend down into it from an escalator, and it's concrete floors, it's horrible lighting, and it's not fun. And gaming conventions like TwitchCon and PAX, they try and make it as like a spectacle as possible. And all of these multi-million dollar companies aren't there to sell anything physical. They're there to kind of present their product so that in the future you will buy their product. They spend, $15,000 on their booth in hopes that you'll buy their $50 game in 2 months.
Yeah.
And Artist Alley, you can't really do that.
Okay, I have one last question. I remembered one. So I see you like collabing and making costumes for like a lot of celebrities or streamers. Is that something that they're paying for, or is it like a mutual beneficial thing because you're also a content creator?
So they do pay for it. Whether or not it's them paying for it or somebody else paying for it, like so maybe a company will hire me to make a costume for a streamer, but they get to keep the costume. Like the person who I made the costume for keeps it because it's not going to fit on anyone else.
Yeah.
Not the same way. So they get to take it home. But regardless, I never make a costume for free because there's just too much. The costumes are so expensive.
Yeah.
Labor, materials.
Gotcha. So that is part of your business.
Yeah. I won't say that I make a lot of money from it. It's not like I'm making bank, but it certainly isn't a waste of time.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's much better if a company is like, hey, we were promoting a character. Can you like make like 2 Instagram posts and make the costume? I'll be like, perfect. Most of the budget goes into the Instagram posts.
You seem like the go-to for most streamers for like their cosplay needs. Was it just like, oh, you got successful in the cosplay world and that just kind of naturally happened, or did you like place yourself in that position, like kind of
somebody
manually?
placed me in that situation? So remember the girl I told you about who gained 1 million followers in 1 month from her videos, her motivational videos? She's such a motivating person that like almost 10 years ago, she was working at a streaming company called Caffeine, which like, didn't really take off, but they had a lot of money because they were angel funded, and she wanted content creators to come and stream on the platform. And she heard about me through a friend. So she onboarded me onto the company, became my accounts manager, and I was just streaming building costumes. So she was like, okay, here's an idea. Like after signing with them and everything, she was like, oh, here's an idea. What if we made a show for you and you made costumes for other content creators, because they're not on our platform, but it'd be nice to have their fans come to our platform. I'm like, that's great. Perfect. Let's do that. So she set everything up. She was like basically a producer, put me in a studio. I had to make 1 costume a week for 10 weeks,
Jesus, okay.
3 or 4 times. I think we had three seasons of this, in which for 10 weeks straight, I was making a costume every single week for somebody. It was crazy. It was another form of boot camp.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I learned a lot, especially about how to make costumes for other people, which is so different than making a costume for yourself.
Yeah.
And because of that situation, more people in the community learned who I was, like streamers and like YouTubers learned who I was, and they started contacting me separately to make costumes for them. And so I have all the thanks to Chloe for doing this for me.
That's awesome. That's such an interesting background.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Stella. I really appreciate you coming on. I learned a lot.
Yay. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. All right. So my overall thoughts is I can agree with some of the stuff she says, but I think how she presented it came off the wrong way.
Yes.
I think I bet if she looked back on it now, she would probably word it very differently. But I can understand a lot of stuff what she was saying, but I can see how people took it and everything. So yeah, I think the way she presented it and the way she talked about it was not good. It was very, very bad. So I like the contest stuff. Yeah, I like the solution she had, but again, the way you communicated was not very good. So
yes, and I can still say that quote was still taken the way that I originally took it, which is you're making cosplay into a beauty pageant. Yeah, and it's not. I did not hear a lot of points about the community and what we were originally built on. I heard mostly. Talks about money, social media, and that's basically being an all or nothing thing with this hobby.
Yeah. I mean, maybe for some people that's probably all they want. I guess.
You get that from this, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just don't take that mindset and force it onto other people, which is what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And that's where the toxicity comes in. That's where the competition leaks in. It's like, oh, well, you don't have this amount of followers. Like I have 2,500 almost on Instagram, but a lot of people would not expect that just because they see me on Instagram that I would actually have a 12K on almost on TikTok. But also, like, that doesn't matter because you see bigger content creators that don't even have partnerships, and I have a partnership, but that doesn't mean that. But it doesn't, like, my follower count didn't get me that. My presence did. The way I've been talking on my lives and a lot more of the motivational stuff that I've been posting and talking about cosplay issues and showing my personality is what got me that. And I put myself out there. It was terrifying. As you know, I have social anxiety, as I said. It was terrifying. I'm like, I'm just going to take the mask off and see what happens. I'm going to just go wild. And that's what happened after my break. I said, screw this. I'm not following these list of rules to be a content creator anymore. And it did nothing but benefit me.
Yeah.
You get your own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely sounds like there's a lot of improvement from the con side of things. It definitely sounds like it's just more of it's not what it was. But that doesn't mean they can't get back there. But it's gonna take the right kind of people
exactly
to put it back to the way it was, and maybe that means some people take that leap and start their own cons. It may start out, very poorly in the beginning, but more and more as it grows, the more and more you learn from it, it can rival some of the bigger cons out there. So
yeah, and I've speaking of that, I've even talked to so many people that have maybe 100 followers on social media, yet they have a side professional cosplay thing on the side because they did something at a con once that got them recognition, or they did something that was completely off social media that got them recognized through like a theater or through a job or a stand-up comedian that they did. They just showed up in cosplay one day and just so happened that made enough of an impression that word got around. Like in that video that I made, I also listed all the different things that you can do as a cosplayer that are not social media. And then I said at the bottom, regardless of follower count, I know people who have half, if not less, like a quarter of the amount of followers that I have and have had cosplay guest opportunities. I have not had one yet. It just depends on like what you do. It's influence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a very interesting interview. Very interesting interview. So I'm actually glad I had you on too, because this turned out a lot better than if it was just me soloing it. So this really turned out really, really good. So
I appreciate you having me. I'm more than okay talking about this podcast.
Yeah, no,
I love public speaking, actually, so I'm more than okay with this. Social anxiety, yet love public speaking. Interesting.
But guys, that is where we will end this episode of the Nerd Talk podcast. You guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching. If you're listening on Spotify, this episode particular may be broken up into two parts, since we are well over 2 hours into talking about this, so it may be broken up into two parts. I don't know yet. Just yet, I'll have to just go back through and take a look at it. But obviously on YouTube, as you're watching the entire thing. So if you're new to the channel, first off, if you want to let everybody know where they can follow and support you.
Yeah, I can be found at Teramisu Cosplay on TikTok, Instagram. I am slowly realizing that I have a YouTube account, so hopefully more put on there. But I also do have a Facebook, so the Facebook is also where I normally communicate with cons, and you'll see me popping up in there on their con pages. And I am soon going to be making a Discord for cosplay community that is built on supporting each other. Same with Patreon. Okay,
and then I'll have her link down in the description below. Tara's link down in the description below for you guys to go and click on and check out. And then as far as on my end, normal Nerd Talk stuff going on both the gaming channel and this channel. I'm probably gonna do an interesting video because we got the Huntsville Pop and Culture Expo coming up. So I'm probably gonna do like a little vlog about that and show you guys what that con is like. It'll be like my second year going, and I really like it because there is a there are a lot of guests that I'm very excited are going to be there. I think they just Christopher Lloyd was announced. He'll be there. Amy Jo Johnson.
Okay.
I'm very excited. Obviously, that's for guys growing up in their 90s. That was your first crush, was the Pink Power Ranger. Ming Na Wen is going to be there as well. I'm excited. I'm probably going to be broke, but I'm okay with that.
I'm excited for you.
Yes, it's going to be great. But guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching. Other than that, we will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.